Former President Trump is claiming in a post on his social media platform that he will be arrested on Tuesday. This is in relation to the Manhattan DEA's investigation into hush money payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 presidential election. As part of the post, Trump is also calling on his supporters to protest. ABC News has not verified the claim.
This is a witch hunt. I am not pro-Trump. I am not pro-Biden. I am pro-factual accuracy and truth. I've listened to about 7 different newscasters. Every one of them call this hush money. I think we need to break it down from the very beginning and just think what's happening. He had alleged affairs with a porn star. I believe that they are true, and he did. I believe it happened right after his kid, and I think there's a lot of primal, dumb reasons why a man will go sleep with a random beautiful woman after having a child. What we need to ask ourselves is, what does this have to do with running for the president? And what does the opposing party like to use against our previous president? His misogyny. And in that specific sense, they're going to make a lot of claims that this is important because misogyny is bad and he must be bad, which was the entire claim in a large portion of America. White, black, Hispanic, man. White women didn't seem to care for him, but there were still a lot that truly understood what he was saying and didn't mind his crassness, and now they want to attack what he does privately. He is still in a successful marriage. All of his kids love him, and perhaps a porn star or any person, man, woman, or anyone in need of money would see a lot of value in selling that information to a lot of people. When would that information become most valuable, you ask yourself? Right before another election. Immediately after CPAC, he immediately gets indicted. Now, a lot of people ask, well, he wasn't indicted before, so he must be innocent. Well, that's not necessarily true either. The DOJ has a long-standing record of never indicting a president. What we want to ask ourselves is, he's been gone for a year or two, they could have indicted him, and they only wait till after he gives a speech at CPAC saying, I will be your retribution.
In 2016, I declared, I am your voice. Today I add, I am your warrior, I am your justice, and for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. I am your retribution. Not going to let this happen.
And I think that worries them. I think they are concerned that he will try to make real change and just completely disrespect the powers at large. Now, let's talk about the legitimacy of this actual indictment. Let's jump to ChatGPT, since it seems to give, although left-leaning answers, they're still very accurate. The first thing that we should discuss is, well, what is the validity? This is a private incident in a man's life when he wasn't president. So right off the bat, it's clearly a private matter. Is a candidate's private life open to scrutiny for the purposes of a presidential election campaign? Seems like a fair, honest question, and let's kind of see what at least the wealth of the internet and all of machine learning thinks. The private life of a candidate has certainly become subject to scrutiny during a presidential election campaign, especially if there are allegations of wrongdoing or misconduct that would impact the candidate's fitness of office. A man having marital affairs does not do that. Now, if you're talking about information, is she a spy? Are there weird things being whispered at night? Yeah, a man could do that, 100%. But very rarely does a man's lower half, very rarely do those decisions actually interfere with our larger goals and our larger mission. In the United States, presidential candidates are often subject to intense media scrutiny, and reporters may investigate their personal lives, financial records, and past conduct in order to uncover any potential scandals or controversies. The scrutiny can include investigating allegations of extramarital affairs, financial improprieties, and other potential damaging information. So they do mention extramarital affairs. We've been a Christian country for a long time. The institution of marriage has been incredibly sacred, so I can 100%, anyone who did the union of marriage would have a high level of respect, and for a long time that's been a measurement. The divorce rate is like 70%. He's been married 3 times. Marriage is now more of a 20-year commitment and not a life commitment. Extramarital affairs is an interesting one, but it's way more opinionated, and it says nothing about a man's ability to do his job. However, there are certain legal and ethical limitations on what can be reported or used against a candidate during a campaign. For example, there are laws governing campaign finance and disclosure which require candidates to report certain financial information and limit the amount and source of campaign contributions. And that's really the crux. They're trying to get him for a financial crime. They're not not trying to get him for immoral affairs. They need to play this game because they can't actually indict him for being a human being, and they can't prevent him from running for president for being a human being. They can try to prove that he was breaking campaign law and chalk up a bunch of federal charges, resulting in his inability to run. And that's the only way they can win. It's how they did it with COVID. We're going to take all the pawns and all the information that could ever hurt us, and we're only going to push our narrative. They win the game by taking all the opponent's options away. It's disgusting. So overall, while a candidate's private life may be subject to scrutiny during a presidential campaign, there are still legal and ethical limitations on what can be reported or used against them, and the media and public are generally expected to exercise a degree of discretion and respect for personal privacy. Love or hate anyone on either side, no one is going to say that they respected Trump's personal privacy. And they will all say because he was disrespectful. And whenever you hear someone justifying their actions, they're doing two things. One, they're accepting guilt for what they are. And two, they're unwilling to admit that they were bad actions because they're too busy trying to justify themselves and being correct. That is incredibly dangerous. Now, if we want to dig deeper into this, you have to realize Miss Daniels had openly taken $130,000 to not speak about whatever their previous relationship was. And it's only after a successful presidency and the ability to now really wreck that, it seems like the federal government is giving her every opportunity to get out of her non-disclosure, and she wants to sell this story. And she's probably really bitter about only getting $130,000. This has been a long video, guys. I think it's really important that we have to really stay calm. We're going to see a lot of people throwing a lot of shade for a bunch of moral reasons, and that's not what this conversation is about. This conversation is about what is a future president trying to accomplish and what has he accomplished in the past. And I'll remind everyone who has forgotten, Trump is the only president in the past 6 generations who has not actively engaged in a military attack on a foreign country. War is murder. Taxation is theft. We cannot keep saying it is okay to murder people because there's a good reason behind it. Thank you guys for being with me. Like, subscribe. I appreciate you. I'll see you later.